Well, we're in this chapter on reasoning and proof, and the first chapter section that we come up to is inductive reasoning and conjecture. And in this entire chapter 2, reasoning and proof, we're really laying a foundation for a lot of what we will be doing throughout the course in terms of our thinking, our methodology, if you will, how we derive to solve things. And so it sometimes gets a little bit tedious, but it is important. And we start off with inductive reasoning and conjecture. Now, in inductive reasoning, we're looking for patterns. We're looking at specific examples. It's helping us to arrive at a conclusion. And once we recognize a pattern, we can then make what is called a conjecture based upon the patterns that we see. And so here in this first example, patterns and conjecture, which is on pages 91 and 92, we're going to look at the first two guided practices, 1A and 1B. 1C is a little bit complicated to do on a video. I do challenge you on your own, and maybe after we get through with this, to see if you can recognize the pattern in 1C with all the triangles. But let's look at what we have here. First, we start off with something called follow-up visits, and I'm just going to assume I just make up the fact that maybe these are doctor visits. But we got visits in December, May, October, and March, and then it continues on. That ... tells us that it is continuing. And we're looking for a pattern so that we can make a conjecture. So let's see, December, May, October, and March. Well, let's see, how many months are between December and May? We've got January, February, March, April, and then May. So there's 5 months between December and May. What about May and October? June, July, August, September, October is 5 months again. And October to March, let's see, November, December, January, February, March. Well, there's 5 months between October and March. So then we can make a conjecture that each follow-up visit is 5 months from the preceding month. And if that's true, our conjecture then could be that our next follow-up visit would be 5 months from March. And so let's see, April, May, June, July, August. And so our conjecture then is based upon that each follow-up visit is 5 months from the preceding one. Let's just say that the next follow-up visit will be in August. All right, that's looking at a pattern and making a conjecture. Let's drop down to this numerical situation here. So we got the numbers 10, 4, -2, and -8. So let's see if we can recognize a pattern. Well, the difference between 10 and 4 is -6. And the difference between 4 and -2 is -6. And the difference between -2 and -8 is -6. So we are establishing a pattern here. We're recognizing a pattern that the next number in the sequence is 6 less than the preceding number. And based on that pattern, we can make a conjecture that the next number in the sequence would be 6 less than -8. And based upon that conjecture, we're expecting the next number to be -14. All right, using patterns and then determining a conjecture. And again, this is using inductive reasoning. We're looking at specific examples. We're trying to recognize a pattern, and from that pattern, we make a conjecture.